Okay. Hi everyone, it's your good angel here on this very spooky October day in Pennsylvania. Hi everyone. How's everyone doing? Well, I hope everyone's doing great. Well, first and foremost, let's all send a bunch of positive vibes and healing vibes to Dolly Parton. Apparently, it's all over the news that her sister is saying that she's not doing too well following a medical procedure. So, Dolly Parton's not doing very well. So, we all send her lots of loves and healing vibes and everything because the world needs people like Dolly Parton. And that's 100% factual and things like that. She's a good musician. She's got a great heart. She's totally awesome. She loves everybody. The world needs people like her. So, let's do a little bit of post-season trivia, shall we? So yeah, your girl loves baseball over here, and we're just ignoring this right here. We're just ignoring this. Let's just scrub this from our minds if we're Red Sox fans. Let's scrub this from our minds. Zen out. We do not need to spin over that. So basically, so here's what we got. We have Seattle leading the game between Detroit, which I got the Mariners moving on to the bracket. And I got the Blue Jays because Toronto is kicking New York's rear end right now. So I have Toronto moving on to the bracket. These are my bracket picks for the ALCS, right? So I got the Mariners and the Toronto. I got Seattle and Toronto moving over to this next bracket. Now, if you guys don't know a little bit about Seattle, is Seattle has never been to the series from what I've been hearing. King 5 and the Seattle Times have posted that they have never been up this high and they have never been to the World Series. So, who do I have moving on from this bracket to go to the World Series? The one, the only Seattle Mariners is going to go to the series. It's going to be a first for them, and they're going to go to the series for the first time. Now, for the NLCS, well, I have the LA Dodgers playing Milwaukee in the NLCS. And that's going to be a tough challenge because both of those teams are amazing. However, I have the LA Dodgers going to the series. I have two West Coast teams going to the 2025 World Series this year. I got the Seattle Mariners and the LA Dodgers in the World Series. That is my bracket pick. Now, who's going to win the World Series? That is the question from my bracket pick. And I got the Seattle Mariners winning the World Series. First time for the team going to the World Series. Their first time in the World Series, winning the World Series. That right there is my prediction. Your girl has made these predictions. The ALCS winners, Seattle Mariners. The NLCS winners, the LA Dodgers. The winner of the World Series, the Seattle Mariners. That's my picks for the postseason brackets. And to make this even awesomer, the Seattle Mariners won tonight. And yeah, the Yankees are going to lose the last game, so Right here we have it. The Mariners score a second win against Detroit. 8-4. All right. Let's get on to talking about Xbox and them continuously stepping on rakes and falling in holes. This is ultimately me thinking that they are so anti-consumer that they stunk. Okay. Are we ready? Yeah. So basically, there was always two tiers of Game Pass. You had the $10 one, and you had. I think the last time I got it was earlier this year, and what was it? $17. Some people said it was $19. Okay, there's only two tiers. You had the $10 tier, and then you had the Ultimate tier. And how can Microsoft mess that up? I always was a ultimate Xbox Game Pass subscriber. I always thought for the price point it was really awesome, and then I got to stream games and stuff. But with the $10 a month package before, you cannot access cloud gaming. You had to get the ultimate. So there was only two tiers, and I thought it was really awesome. And with the $10, you got access to all the games, right? Except for the ones that were on the cloud. With the Ultimate, you got all the games plus the stuff that's on the cloud, right? So, okay. So, yeah, I can't make words. I can't make words. So, the Essentials Pack for $10 only gives you 50 plus Xbox games on console and PC. You can stream games, including games that you already own, online console multiplayer. No. Benefits of games like League of Legends of Call of Duty Warzone. No. 50 plus games for $10. Are you incredibly insane, Microsoft? And then you added the middle tier premium, right? For $14.99, you get 200 plus games. New Xbox published games join within 12 months of their launching. And then you have the ass kicker. $30 a month, 500 plus Xbox games and PC games, and new games day one. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. You get new games day one, plus you get the EA Pass, Ubisoft, and... This was the cheaper tier for Ultimate at $17 to $20. Now you got the 14-day, which gives you 200 games and new published games that join the Xbox within a year of launch. It used to be day one you got these for this price tier, and now they're moving it up to. In what world, Microsoft, do you think that this is a great opportunity to screw over your player base? For those people who have the $17 to $20 Ultimate, now you're going to tell them to spend $30 in this economy where everything is so expensive. You're going to tell people to pay more and get less? Because this is what this is. This is a joke. This is a joke. This premium tier is a joke. And no one's laughing. This is stupid. You're getting less where you were getting more. Both the $10 and the in the past, the $10 a month, and we're going to go ahead and say the $14 a month price packages included gay. Wow, gay, really? Well, of course, there's LGBTQ games on Xbox, but you got day one games. Both of those tiers had day one games. As soon as it was on Game Pass, you got it. Now you're like, yeah, well, if you want day one games, you're going to have to spend $30 a month. Or video games are now $60, $70, $80, $90, $100, and some developers are like, well, we could charge more than $100 for video games. And with this economy where people can barely afford to buy groceries, you're going to tell people that they're going to have to suck it up and pay more for their premium? I mean, for their ultimate? Or you can just have the premium and have a watered down version of Game Pass. Or if you want to continue your ultimate, you're going to have to spend more. I've been a strong supporter of Microsoft Game Pass for years. I thought Game Pass was the ultimate way to do stuff. It was cheaper. It allowed you to play video games where you could not afford video games, and I thought the price points were pretty good. The last time that they tried to raise the prices, they had an ultimate backlash, and they went back and they apologized. This is like doubling down on that, or even worse, because nobody wins. Nobody wins. I'm sorry, but for $30 a month, that is not worth it. It's not worth it at $30 a month. $20, yes, it's worth it. $16 a month, it is worth it for Ultimate. But I cannot, with a heavy heart, to sit there and say that $30 for Ultimate is worth it when it was cheaper last month. And the Ultimate package is the one I was a subscriber to for months and months and months. This is stupid. Now for the $10 a month, you're getting even less than what you were getting before. The premium is a joke. Go back to the $15 a month for Ultimate Microsoft. That's where you were winning. You were absolutely winning at $10 and $15 for Game Pass. That's where you were winning. This is not winning. You're taking the humongous L, Microsoft. And it's absolutely stupid. Go back to the old price points. Because that's where you're going to get a lot more customers at. In this economy, you don't need to be doing this. Sorry. Woo! I had to have a little bit meltdown because that's been this constantly nagging at me. I had to say what I felt because I'm an Xbox Game Pass member. I haven't been for a month or so, but that's the only way I can play games. It's absolutely ridiculous. The gaming industry is going to crash, and greed's going to do it.
With all the news going on around,
Let's see what Alex has to say about it.
about Xbox the last couple of days, it turns out that yesterday gave us a lot of information as to what's been going on with the Xbox handheld, and especially what's been going on with the pricing of the ROG Ally. Now, all of this is in fact still a rumor been going around, but I do want to bring up a couple of things that may line up as to what happened and why the Xbox ROG Ally X is in fact the way it is, priced at $1,000, and even then, what's been going on with AMD and the possible future of basically just every console happening now in the gaming space. You see, all this goes back to about last year when Windows Central reported this. Exclusive, Xbox President Sarah Bond has set up a new team dedicated to game preservation and forward compatibility. The backwards compatibility program will continue the future of Xbox hardware. You see, that little article from last year, in my opinion, is what has kicked off what people have been talking about.
I'm trying to get the audio right with this headset. It seems to always want to hear everything else that's going on my headset, so...
For the better part of the year, which is that Xbox is going to be moving into a platform style of console where they're going to be using Windows to
I said this for a year now.
go and have all your games available in one space, no longer being part of a console, but now it being a platform. And that new console could be more PC-like than ever before. In fact, a few months back, Sarah Bond, in a video with AMD, said this.
This is all about building you a gaming platform that's always with you, so you can play the games you want across
Yeah, but you assholes raid Game Pass. That's the bullshit part.
devices anywhere you want, delivering
Uh-oh.
you an Xbox experience not locked
Hey, that's my Xbox controller.
to a single store or tied to one device. That's why we're working closely with the Windows team to ensure that Windows is the #1 platform for gaming.
That's right, that entire thing could lead to Windows being the platform of choice for video games, having the ability to go
Does these headset have some kind of audio lag or something? I mean, they're not Bluetooth, they're wired, but wow.
through and play all of your old digital library on one specific platform, and then having Windows power all of that in the past and in the future, meaning that backwards compatibility between actual types of
Well,
hardware
they better make Windows run leaner then. How about that?
wouldn't be a factor, and it no longer is part of being a console, but instead being more of a platform. And we also talked about this yesterday as well, how Steam is pushing Proton and even Linux to take more chunks out of Microsoft's.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to install some kind of Linux on my other computer since it's got a bad problem with locking up. I think I messed up something by uninstalling some software.
Dare I even say monopoly in the space of an operating system. And that's going to be, in my opinion,
Yeah, Majaro Linux!
where the real fight is going to be had. Because all of this, in fact, came to a head when Xbox and Phil Spencer were asked about a specific handheld.
Here we go.
You see, a little bit after that point with Sarah Bond making that team, it turns out Bloomberg had an interview with Phil Spencer talking about the future of Xbox and even their hardware. And here's what he said. Spencer has made no secret of his desire to enter the handheld console market with Xbox hardware, and particularly confirmed the plan to IGN back in June.
Microsoft, hire me as the Xbox CEO. You need a girl that knows how to lead.
Following the 2024 Xbox showcase.
I can make you guys more money. And you guys will be stepping on a rake less and falling in holes less, and you'll be more consumer friendly. Hire me, Microsoft.
Saying, quote, "The future for us in hardware is pretty awesome," said Spencer. "The work the team is doing around different form factors, different ways to play, I'm incredibly excited about. Today was about the games, but we'll have time to come out and talk more about platform, and we can't wait to bring it to you." You see, there's that pesky little word again. Platform,
Yeah,
especially though the
platform.
ability for Xbox to get into the
Platform.
handheld market and provide you a platform to play all of your games.
Phil Spencer's like, I like my platforms. Everybody's going to be on my platform.
Are the pieces starting to line up? Increasing forward compatibility, working on backwards compatibility through Windows, making Windows the best place to play. Phil Spencer talking about platforms and handhelds. Exclusive, Xbox's first-party handheld has been sidelined for now as Microsoft doubles down on Canon and Windows 11 PC gaming optimization.
Yeah.
Xbox's handheld ambitions
Windows
continue
needs
unabated, but the
optimizing.
focus is shifting towards improving Windows 11 for third-party handhelds for now. The Xbox Series X successor is totally safe with development continuing.
Is there going to be like an Xbox, a Windows SKU that's just going to be for handhelds and games? Like game consoles and handhelds, and then everybody else on the computer is going to be stuck with the...
At full pace. So if you don't remember what Project Cannon was, that was actually what's going to become now the Xbox ROG Ally and Ally X, where they're working directly with ASUS to go through and deliver that product for you. At the same time, though, Microsoft was developing their own internal handheld device for you to use, but the thing is they sidelined it, and everyone claimed that the console was going to be, in fact, dead, and it was never going to come out as well. Yesterday, though, we found out that there were some bigger reasons as to why that project was sidelined and why the Asus ROG Ally X was even in production in the first place. According to Insider Gaming, Xbox's dedicated handheld was canceled because AMD required 10 million units, it's claimed.
Holy crap.
Now we're getting to the real crux of the matter and why this is going to be an incredibly scary thing for the industry moving forward. AMD going around and requiring a massive amount of units for Xbox to sell on a handheld tells me one of two things. Either A, AMD decided to go through and try to wring out as much money as they could for Microsoft, or B, my guess is Xbox wanted to actually subsidize the price and cost of those chipsets inside of what they were going to be producing. And AMD didn't want to take the hit in terms of how much it would actually cost to put.
Those are like AMD Pro, or are they like AMD Pro, AI chips or something like that that's going in these handhelds?
Out those kinds of devices. But we'll get into that in just a moment, because here's what the article had to say from Insider Gaming as well. The news comes from a reputable AMD and hardware leaker, Kepler L2, who has reported on many AMD-related leaks in the past. According to Kepler, Xbox's dedicated handheld was canceled because AMD wanted a massive 10 million unit commitment for a dedicated system, or SoC.
Why do they want so much? I mean, 10 million units, I mean, for handhelds is still one of these new things. I think AMD wanted way too many units. I don't get why AMD did that. That sounds really crazy to me.
It was said that with the Steam Deck only selling around 5 million units and Asus ROG Lenovo Legion only selling 1 to 2 million, and Microsoft didn't want to take the risk. If true, it's not surprising that Microsoft didn't want to make a $10 million chip commitment in the current unprecedented times, but it's always unfortunate to hear of hardware cancellations. Kepler did mention further down in the forum thread that the handheld was quite early in development, though, so at least this wasn't a project that was canceled just before it was due to go on sale.
Okay.
Now, this to me is incredibly interesting. Like I said before, AMD asking for 10 million units to go through and be provided for the actual purchase is exactly what I'm seeing here before. My guess is, like I said,
Alex, I need to tell you something. Sir, your shirt blends in with your microphone and it's a little distracting.
Xbox may have wanted to subsidize the price and have a lower barrier to entry for a higher performing chipset, unlike the Zen 2 right now with the Asus ROG Ally X costing $1,000.
That's a whole nother rant for the prices of those devices.
And that's really what I think was going on. Xbox wanted to have a dedicated piece of hardware working directly with AMD. And the crazier part is what we get later on in this video. AMD is exactly the same manufacturer and chip maker that makes all the sets for your Xbox Series X and S's, and also for your PS5 and PS5 Pros. They also do GPUs on PCs. And I've said this time and time again, AMD isn't the greatest. They are, in fact, NVIDIA's cousin, where you can see them do exactly what NVIDIA does, but usually in a worse fashion every single time. And it never really pans out for them well on the GPU side. CPUs, hey, those are great. GPUs, they could be a lot better and a lot cheaper and perform in different ways. But there are different variables as well on this space. The thing is, though, that's my guess on what I think has been.
I have a fully AMD system beside me, and I have a Intel system that I'm using right now with the NVIDIA card.
Going on, and why Project Cannon took off with ASUS rather than actually having it go through directly with Xbox on their own to have that.
Couldn't somebody stick a Intel chip, one of these new Intel chips, into one of these handhelds?
dedicated piece of hardware. And to give you more evidence as to why I feel Xbox may have been subsidizing the price and AMD was trying to go ahead and charge more for the actual amount of units being sold is because, according to The Gamer, this happened. Microsoft reportedly discussed making the Xbox ROG Ally cheaper, but it didn't work
It
out.
needs to be cheaper.
Earlier this month, Xbox Era's John Clark claimed that word on the ground at Gamescom was that Microsoft and Asus had postponed the ROG Ally price reveal to discuss reducing the cost of the backlash to the leaked figures. However, it was just announced that the handheld will retail at $599 and $999, even more expensive than early reports had suggested. Some have cast doubts on Xbox Era's claims.
That cheaper one needs to be under $500 because what you're getting is not a whole hell of a lot, and it's mostly a Game Pass streaming device with the least amount of storage in that device. There's no way that's $600.
In light of this news, but Insider Gaming editor-chief Tom Henderson has corroborated them, arguing if you were even remotely connected with the industry, you'd know that this was in fact true at the time, but they obviously couldn't do it for whatever reason. I think that reason is one thing and one thing only: absolute unequivocal cost. I really feel like companies like Asus are starting to make a very thin margin on every single Ally X sold, especially on the Zen 2 Extreme chipset. People have been very critical of me lately, especially when I was talking about the actual price for the ROG Ally and the Ally X. I felt that they should be, in fact, a lot cheaper than they actually are. Some of those responses and criticisms were that the Zen 2 Extreme chip costs quite a bit of money to make, which my response is, I don't really care. And clearly, I still don't care. I'm going to double down on that one, unfortunately. I feel, though, that what's happening right now is that AMD is trying to go through and squeeze out every penny they possibly can out of every other person.
Yeah, they're getting greedy. They're getting greedy.
That's trying to have any sort of chipset being
It's all greed.
manufactured. And even though right now in the handheld space and during SoCs, they are, in my opinion, the de facto to go to, you're going to be seeing AMD make a lot of big plays trying to get more money out of these other corporations and then passing the buck on to you as a consumer as well. And this is why I feel like this could be the main reason why Xbox sidelined their own dedicated hardware console, and why there was so much
Sorry, I keep
confusion
yawning. I'm
about
just
the Ally
tired.
X being put out and how long it took for the price to even be released in the first place. Mere weeks before its actual release and announcement and even pre-order. At the same time, though, you can also see exactly why
Oblivion the Remastered. This is the game that we're seeing.
Xbox is focusing more on Windows as a platform rather than trying to keep going on with a typical old-fashioned kind of console, sequestered off.
Patrick Stewart does the voice of the game.
Broken down and then put away to the side where everybody has to sit and work on it. And the only way you can do backwards compatibility with anything is through either emulation or putting the hardware into that next kind of device. So this could mean a couple of things in my opinion. Number one, you are probably going to be seeing more OEM devices from Xbox and even, dare I say, from other providers as well. Not only because Xbox is leaving the hardware industry, but because of the fact that I feel like AMD is going to try and start squeezing out as much money as they can.
What happens if somebody decides, hey, we're putting an Intel chip in our console? I mean, Nintendo doesn't have a, my fingernail polish is coming off. Nintendo doesn't have AMD or, Intel or anything in there. They got a ARM-based chip from, NVIDIA.
From their own SoCs on every provider. You can also bet your sweet bippy, in my opinion, that you're going to be seeing console prices rise. And I feel this could have been the exact same play as to what happened with PlayStation as well, and the cost of the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, that's because
Do I feel like Sony and Microsoft are greedy? Absolutely 100%.
They are.
But I also feel like companies like AMD are also incredibly greedy. And just like
That's
their cousin
true.
NVIDIA, they want to follow in those footsteps, baby. And I will definitely make a bet that you can at some point see that, hey, AMD knew the PS5 Pro was not going to sell as much as everybody else, and they either wanted a
Yeah, but they
price
raised the
differential
price up of the
or
regular
they wanted to
frickin',
go ahead and have an
consoles.
actual unit differential on how many pieces they were going to sell of that actual platform with the Pro, which could explain why the Pro was $700 and then jacked up again to $750, part of those market conditions, basically just being greed. And this also leads back to the previously in the video talking about Valve and the Steam Deck, how it sold around 4 million units, even though on its website directly and not being available in stores. So having a 10 million unit kind of like baseline for Xbox to hit is pretty ridiculous, especially in that market that is basically dominated by Nintendo and even Valve right now. The thing is, though, if you don't remember, there was one part specifically that Valve talked about where they were discussing the price of the Steam Deck. In fact, Gabe Newell said this. According to PC Gamer, Gabe Newell expects the Steam Deck to sell millions of units, but the pricing was painful to pick. Performance was priority, but balancing that with cost was a critical aspect too. With Gabe Newell saying, quote, "I want to pick this up and say, oh, it all works, it's all fast." And then the price point was secondary and painful, but that was pretty clearly a critical aspect to it. The first
Well, did AMD put a gun to his head and say, this is how you have to price it because this is what we're giving you for our chips? Is that what we're dealing with here? I mean, look, I love AMD and I do, but I mean, if they're going to strong arm these companies or they're going to start being greedy, then I mean, people can't afford to buy a lot of stuff anymore. And I think everything's going to be bad. We're going to go into a point where nobody's going to be able to afford anything because of corporate greed. I didn't think AMD was all about greed, and here I am eating crow about that. I said multiple years ago that AMD was not about greed. And your girl is eating crow. I'm sick and tired of the greed. The greed's out of control, but
it was the performance and the experience. That was the biggest and most fundamental constraint that was driving us. And why did I bring up the Steam Deck and the price of it and the performance? Well, it's very simple. It turns out that AMD, in fact, made the chipset for the Steam Deck. It's part of what's called the Van Gogh SoC. And what's even crazier to note is that the Xbox ROG Ally, not the X, the Z2, the white one, the Z2A chipset is in fact the Van Gogh chipset.
Really?
And right here down below in this chart, you'll actually see a breakdown from videocards.com showing where all those chipsets lie from AMD.
The Ryzen Z2A, AMD Van Gogh Silicon. It's a 4-core Zen 2, and it's got an 8X RDNA 2 CU. But yet it does not have an NPU. An NPU is basically a AI processor. And the Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme is a Stark's Point. It's an 8X Zen 5C 16X RDNA 3.5 CU with the Radeon 8090M, and it has an NPU of the XDNA 2. Okay.
The Z2A, the Van Gogh, the Z2 Extreme, and everything else on that board. The thing is, though, with the pricing of what's happening right now with the Asus ROG Ally X and the ROG Ally, and also with the information that we saw with Gabe Newell talking about the price being a critical aspect and very painful to reach, and then seeing the rumor as well go around that AMD wanted 10 million units from Xbox's own set of chipsets with their handheld device. And on top of that, seeing the other rumor being corroborated by Tom Henderson going around about Xbox wanting to lower the price on the Asus ROG Ally X and ROG Ally, and then also waiting for the exact 11th hour for the pricing of those Ally consoles to come out. This could in fact all be lining up directly, seeing as how AMD does in fact do around 90% of all the SoCs in the space at this moment in time. They could have done the same thing happening to PlayStation, and that could be why your PS5 Pro costs $700 but doesn't perform the way it's supposed to, because maybe they saw that they were going to sell enough units but had to make some sort of return on that cost and investment. It could also be why the Asus ROG Ally X is $1,000 when it doesn't need to be, and at the same time, while Xbox couldn't.
I don't know who's buying one of those things, to be honest with you, at $1,000, and that's ridiculous. That device is not worth $1,000.
In fact, do their own dedicated.
My freaking fingernail polish is just falling off, flaking off, so I'm sitting here trying to pick off the pieces that is falling off.
Hardware version of that actual handheld device. If AMD is going around and asking for far more money and or far more units to be sold, this could be a massive issue in the gaming space. And that could be exactly what the market conditions were in fact all about. AMD controlling that space directly and saying, hey, you got to give us more money for our chipsets, or at the same time provide us an X amount of sales for us to subsidize that cost for you as well. And I think that's going to be incredibly scary, especially for next generation, because the rumors going around of what we're seeing right now, even though I don't really believe them because it just seems way too far-fetched, you could be seeing
How powerful will the next Xbox be? Comparing leak spec to an RTX 5080. That's a pipe dream.
$1,000 consoles, where PC gaming could be far more lucrative and far easier to get into, where you could see other places start to do more things with OEM devices, especially if that cost is going to be high. Microsoft moving into the platform section could be the saving grace, as to not having to spend all that amount of money on hardware every single generation with AMD specifically. Let someone else deal with AMD, we'll put our logo on it, we'll make Windows the actual platform, and then we'll go from there, converting every Xbox console gamer into basically a PC gamer, giving them all their library and keeping them directly with us specifically. And I think that's going to be the bigger key factor, especially as costs rise.
And getting rid of the $30 price point Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
Over and over again. But at this moment in time, again, this is all just
When the heck did they add this right here to YouTube? In the full screen mode. Kill beans.
The thing is, though, like I said before, AMD is in fact NVIDIA's and it turns out they're jumping in the same AI boat. In fact, AMD yesterday said this: today we're announcing a multi-year, multi-generational strategic partnership with @OpenAI that puts AMD compute at the center of the global AI infrastructure build-out. With
this AI stuff's going to end badly for everybody.
6 gigawatts of...
Oh, but Angel, you use AI. I only use AI to make images and stuff. For my YouTube and profile pictures. I am a broke woman, okay? That's the reason why I use AI, and plus I can't digitally draw. I'm still learning how to draw traditionally, so...
AI infrastructure. Initial 1 gigawatt deployment of AMD Instinct.
You mean 1.21 gigawatts? Those of you who know what that means.
MI450 series GPU's capacity beginning in the second half of 2026, enabling...
This is all goes for AI. Everything AI. AI this, AI that, AI everything.
very large-scale AI deployments and advancing the entire AI ecosystem. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Alex, what does that have to do with anything? Well, it turns out, like I said, because NVIDIA, in fact, hit a $4.5 trillion market cap because of their ability to implement so much AI in that infrastructure.
Holy shoot!
And of course, for the regular consumer like...
Man, that's insane.
You and me, what does that mean? That means chipsets that are more focused on AI and less focused on actually providing better rasterization, which also means a massive price increase consistently.
So fake frames. And AI BS to make the game seem like they're running better and look better, but in reality that they're not. Got it.
Across the board, a 5090 should not cost $2,000, but it will cost $2,000 if they shove a bunch of AI into it and make you think it's going to be a deal that way. Again, following the exact same footsteps that we've...
5090 is not even a gaming card. Yeah, it sure could play video games, but that game's just for Blender renders and
animations and workstations.
Seen before. This could in fact be the reason why consoles and hardware and everything else tech-wise is increasing in cost, because the actual infrastructure and dumping of money into AI in the first place is exactly what's causing these valuations to occur.
And also, nobody's going to be able to afford to play video games in the future.
This price increase to happen, these companies to go through and start controlling more market share, and at the same time giving you less of a product, even though they're not supposed to do that at all. In fact, somebody on Twitter caught them saying this. Inverse Kramer said this, let me get this straight. NVIDIA invests $100 billion in OpenAI. OpenAI is NVIDIA's largest customer. OpenAI owns 10% of AMD. OpenAI is AMD's largest customer. Government owns 10% of Intel. Hey, there's a bubble. Now, with all that put together, you can clearly see why this could be, in fact, a massive issue overall.
Yeah, I already have a massive issue with Donald Trump forcing Intel to basically give 10% of its company to the federal government. That right there was a hostile thing right in itself. I don't agree with that, and I never will. That is absolute garbage to me that happened.
If AMD and NVIDIA start trying to choke out and say, hey, you're either going to give us more sales or you're going to pay us more upfront for our chipsets because of the fact that we have all this AI infrastructure that we're going to be putting into these chipsets in the first place, then
whatever happened to a basic chip? Whatever happened to it? I mean, yeah, I'm okay with chips having like so many CPU cores, which, excuse me, the actual cores are called performance cores. And then the other cores are called efficient cores, E-cores. There's no more hyper-threading stuff. It's performance cores, P-cores, and E-cores, and imaginary cores, and then you're going to have AI cores. And you're going to have like, well, we're going to get rid of some of the P-cores and some of the E-cores, and then we're going to have a bunch of AI cores. Or the NPUs and whatever, and so now your chip is going to have this weird performance issue if you're not doing AI stuff or anything AI driven. Then your CPU may be a little less powerful, but then if you're doing AI stuff, then your CPU is going to be more powerful, and then same thing with the graphics stuff. Can we just have stuff that doesn't have AI? You know, let's just have a regular chip that doesn't have AI in it, right? Can we do that? Can we have a choice? I'm so glad that my 13th generation Core i7 does not have any kind of AI compute units in there. I'm so glad that the AMD Ryzen in my desktop does not have any whatsoever compute units in there. And I think my RTX 40 series graphics card, it's one of the mid tiers, maybe lower end tier graphics cards, so it doesn't have a lot of AI compute units in there. And my good old AMD RX 580 has none. It's just pure raw performance. Sorry. I know I use AI sometimes for voiceovers and intros and stuff like that, but AI is going to completely destroy stuff. It's going to screw over computers, and it's going to screw over the gaming industry. The gaming industry is already going to crash because of the prices and anti-consumer moves, but this may be the nail on the coffin for the video game crash that is coming.
Things could get really hairy as well. You're going to see console prices increase, GPU prices go even higher every single generation, and those market caps have to increase as well. Like that tweet said from Inverse Kramer, there is in fact a bubble, and things could in fact pop very quickly. We saw people get really upset about a $10 price increase for Game Pass. Well, next generation, the rumor is these consoles will be costing a lot more than they are right now, and these market conditions could in fact be
no one's
really
going to be
worse
able to
for
afford.
wear. People were blaming things like tariffs. People were blaming things like the actual market itself, when in reality, the real market condition could in fact just be NVIDIA and AMD wanting more money from every single
Greed.
unit sold. And that is even scarier than anything else you could honestly imagine.
It's greed.
But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Do you think this is why the Xbox handheld was not released?
It's greed. It's all greed. At the end of the day, it's all greed.
What in the heck is going on at Xbox? It has been the most wild past 48 hours I have ever seen in the gaming industry. When it rains, it apparently pours, because it turns out that everything has been going wrong ever since last week.
Yeah, what's going on over there at, what is it, One Microsoft Way in Redmond?
Where Xbox announced their price increase for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and its other tiers over and over again. And even then, the removal of day one games from many of their services unless you get the Ultimate tier at $30 a month. It has been a nightmare and disaster, with Google Trends showing a massive spike and increase in searches for how to cancel Xbox Game Pass. With even then, at the same time, it getting so bad, the website itself crashed for trying to cancel those services. But the thing is, it got worse. No, I'm not kidding. It got exponentially worse over this past weekend, because even more things came back to haunt them. According to Hazardor Gaming, Bloomberg says,
did the backlash make them change anything, huh? Didn't know. Listen, Microsoft, the people have spoken. If you can change before, you can do it again, okay?
Xbox's hike on Game Pass shows the cost of lost Call of Duty sales more than $300 million across console and PC last year.
Ouch.
Microsoft CFO Amy Hood has asked Xbox to find other ways to increase profit, according to the current and former employees. Now, in that Bloomberg article, basically what's been going on is apparently everybody was shocked and appalled that Call of Duty had less sales on the Xbox platform, but more sales on PlayStation 5 and more sales on PC. Boy, I wonder why that would even happen. What is anyone at Xbox even thinking? What is the CFO even thinking? Of course, you're going to have lower sales on your platform when you offer the game inside of the service. And so what did they do? They don't just want some of the money, they want all of the money. And what happened was, because of the fact that they lost $300 million on sales, this is again just on the sales, not on microtransactions, not on everything else. They turn around and jack up the price, remove COD from all the tiers except for Ultimate, and now you got to pay more money.
Greed! Kind of sound like a horse, didn't it? Why do horses run on courses? But of course is a horse, but of horse, but of course.
In fact, to prove me right, here is Matt Piscatella of Circana. On Blue Sky, he said this: so someone tried to gotcha me here. The game sold extremely well. Was there a platform sales share shift? Yes. Pointed that out in the launch results. I'd argue that the network effect of it on Game Pass resulted in stronger engagement and perhaps even better sales on PS5 and PC because of it. Just because someone made an estimate on lost sales doesn't make it true. Same for estimates on lost sales to piracy or whatever. Did sales on Xbox drop because of the Game Pass launch? Sure, as expected. Did the game as a whole suffer a massive drop compared to previous releases? No, it did not. That little headline by Bloomberg is exactly what's been going on the entire time. I don't know why everybody in this entire gaming industry is literally doing everything they possibly can to shit talk an entire company and corporation that they clearly do not like, that they clearly don't game on, yet they want to have leave the industry. And we'll get to that in just a moment. Trust me, I got a whole bunch of opinions on that entire aspect. But the problem is that the fact that people will take one piece of headline, not see any of the context whatsoever, say, oh, Game Pass cannibalizes sales. Yeah, that's the point of a subservice. You pay the subservice instead of buying the game. But that doesn't mean Microsoft lost money. The difference is Microsoft wants all of the money. And if you don't believe me, here's what else.
Holy shit. That was a lot to take in right there. Look, people have accused me of being an Xbox fangirl. People accuse me of being a Microsoft fangirl. Yes, last year I went to Microsoft, and yes, I kind of geeked out a little bit. But they have been doing a lot of stuff over the last year that makes me question their leadership, including Microsoft's own leadership and Xbox's leadership. They've been doing some things that has really rubbed me the complete wrong way. Microsoft's full bore attention to AI is absolutely the most lunatic thing I've ever seen in my life. Going as far as laying off thousands of people and replacing those people's jobs with AI is crazy. There was one Microsoft employee that said that they helped build the AI for Microsoft, and then their job was replaced by said AI that they helped build. Now that's a shitty situation right there. You just had a complete shitty day knowing that what you designed is now taking your job. That's where I kind of lost a lot of respect for Microsoft in over a year. Because I have defended Microsoft in the past and on some things, and I criticized Microsoft in the past too. When Microsoft does good, I give them kudos. But when Microsoft screws up, I criticize them. And I have criticized them more and more and more here recently. And stop doing anti-consumer stuff, Microsoft.
They did. According to VGT Gaming News, Microsoft removes DLC discounts for Xbox Game Pass members. This is not specific to any one game and reflects all games and DLC purchases. Instead of discount on the purchases, Ultimate and Premium subscribers will earn 10% and 5% respectively in points when purchasing select games and add-ons from Game Pass library. Ultimate members...
I don't like this Game Pass shit. I don't like this new Game Pass tier. It's got anti-consumer all over it.
Continue to have 20%.
Then I was looking forward to renewing my Xbox Game Pass subscription next year to play Forza 6, but since that's going to be a new game, I would have to wait another year in order to play it because I am not getting the $30 Game Pass subscription. So now if I wanted to play it on Game Pass, I would have to wait till 2027. I'm going to say something. If you guys don't like cursing, fuck you, Microsoft.
Discounts on select games from the Game Pass library. On top of that, all rewards members will earn the points when shopping games and add-ons on the store, while Premium and Ultimate subscribers will earn even more, 2 to 4x respectively. Microsoft and Xbox are literally nickel and diming you at every sense of the word. Those discounts you used to get, gone. Now you're getting reward points, which honestly don't mean all since they capped you consistently and you're already restricted on how much you can earn. That's depending
true.
Upon your tier of Game Pass.
So true.
Yeah, they don't want some of the money. They're not starving for it. They're a $4 trillion company. They can clearly afford to give you discounts and more points. But the thing is, they want to make all of the money. And that's what people don't understand. They take a headline like, oh, you lost $300 million, but they don't realize they made a ton more sales off of...
Microsoft's what? The second richest company in the world, or the second richest company in the United States, or are they are they number one? The most? I think it's what is it in the United States? It's Microsoft and Apple are the top richest companies in the United States, and they're like in the top 5 in the world. Yeah, Microsoft.
Every other platform and made a ton of money off microtransactions like they always did. They wouldn't put Beavis and Butthead in Call of Duty if it didn't make them a ton of cash, now would they? But of course, when somebody is down, what's better to do than to kick them, am I right? Because look who's back in the picture, Lena Khan. Lena Khan on Twitter said this: Microsoft's acquisition of Activision has been followed by significant price hikes and layoffs, harming both gamers and developers. As we've seen across sectors, increasing market consolidation and increasing prices often go hand in hand. As dominant firms become too big to care, they can make things worse for their customers without having to worry about the consequences. I have never seen a person so in my entire life. The fact that she's trying to sit here and blame Microsoft and Activision Blizzard for increasing the prices. They didn't do it because of ABK. They did it because they spent $80 billion on AI. They spent more on making AI.
$80 billion on AI. Holy shit.
A big thing than they actually did about ABK.
I would like to have $80 billion.
Hey, and we're sitting here talking about that in the first place. And I know somebody's going to be like, Alex, you used a whataboutism. That's not how that works. But I'm going to use it. I really don't give a Nintendo, $80 games. Did they have a merger?
Yeah, $80 games, but Nintendo, they said that they wasn't, what was it? $80 games was just a start, but if they believed that the quality of their game means that they could charge whatever that they want, so if they believe that the quality is like the game could be $90, $100, $150, because we believe that's the quality of the game. Mario Kart World is not worth $80. Then again, who's the demographic that really plays Switch games? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who can afford $80 in this economy?
Did that happen? Oh no, I'm sorry. No, they didn't. They didn't. No. Nintendo also increased the price of the Switch 1 to make you more palatable to buy the Switch.
Yeah. They said if you couldn't afford the Switch 2, buy the Switch 1, and then they raised the prices. There is some bats and some belfries. There are some screws and balls. There are some dings that are in bat, if you catch my drift.
2. Was that because of a merger? Oh, sorry. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. PlayStation. They increased the price of their consoles twice. They did it twice. They increased it when they released the slim versions, and then they increased it again recently. So that's 2 price hikes in a generation.
I remember when people released the slim versions of consoles or the smaller version of consoles, the prices went down.
Was that because of a merger? No. Oh, sorry. No. PS Plus went up in price. Was that a merger? No.
People seen the PS price go up in the United States too, by the way.
Sorry. No. Oh, PlayStation had layoffs too. Was that a merger? No. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this whole weird thing about how Lena Khan thinks that if ABK was blocked, that'd be a good thing for the industry. No, if ABK was blocked, they probably would have liquidated the entire thing, put everybody out in the street, lost all those IPs, and probably sold them out to some other actual investment firm in the first place, controlling them like Embracer did, making them lose that deal, and then selling it off in a fire sale. That would have been even worse, probably. And you know what? I'm not the only one that thinks that. Take a look. Here's Richard Hogue, someone who specializes in video game law, specifically saying this: the next time you feel imposter syndrome, just remember that the former FTC chair continues to bet her reputation, such as it is, on the notion that Microsoft is a, quote, dominant force in U.S. video gaming. In other words, have the faith in your own abilities that Miss Khan mistakenly has in hers. Holy shit. You know what that was? That was the nicest way of insulting someone I have honestly ever seen. The fact that we're sitting here watching actual lawyers who understand the law and the video game industry are telling her, look, clown, that's not the reason why prices went up. And you can't sit there and blame one specific thing because you want to waste taxpayer money on a consistent basis as the economy itself and every single other.
When you got lawyers arguing about stuff, you know the video game industry has problems.
Gaming publication and publisher and hardware developer has said we're increasing the cost because of market conditions. And the price increases are due to one thing and one thing only: massive corporate greed. They were going to happen whether ABK went through or not. Consolidation would happen whether ABK went through or not. These idiots running around trying to celebrate like, oh, Lena, you were right the whole time. And they're all the exact same idiotic, moronic fanboys you see on Twitter. Has to be incredibly telling now, doesn't it? But the thing is, though, things aren't all good on the front for Microsoft, because it turns out good old bald-headed Satya is on his way out the door. In a
Can I be the CEO of Microsoft?
memo to employees today, Nadella said he's promoting Judson Althoff,
No, it should be Angel. Angel should be promoted.
a 12-year veteran of the company, to a newly created role of CEO of the company's commercial business. In his new position, Althoff, who spent the last 9
Altoff sounds like some kind of prescription medicine.
years leading Microsoft's commercial sales organization, will take charge of the company's engineering, sales, marketing, operations, and finance teams, which account for more than 75% of its total revenue. The reshuffle is designed to consolidate the company's efforts to build and market more business-focused products as it strives to compete against rivals such as Amazon Web Services Inc. and Google LLC, as well as OpenAI and various other AI startups. Nadella will get to spend more time with the company's engineering teams and ensure development heads in the right direction that he wants. So basically, in my opinion, after seeing what's going on with Nadella and everything else in the industry for Microsoft, the price increases and everything else happening, Nadella took an L. The guy's kicked out of the curb. We always talked about how other big
Yeah, that sounds like, yeah.
CEOs and players were being pushed out of the door. It happened to Sean Layden. It happened to Jim Ryan. And it keeps happening to every other CEO that we see. Oh, guys, he's not let go. He's just taking a different position to focus on something else, which really means he's running the entire fucking thing into the goddamn ground. We've talked about before how Xbox is no
I've always gave praise to Sanjay Nadella, but the last few years, I've questioned some of his leadership skills over at Microsoft. But this other guy, I have questioned some of the things he has done too. So I could be CEO of Microsoft. I've been using Microsoft products for years. I've been fixing Windows for years. Should we need to bring up Windows ME Microsoft or Windows Vista? Remember the Windows Vista? Sorry, the Windows Longhorn fiasco. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure William Gates and Stephen Ballmer would like to forget those days. Who's William Gates, you ask? You better known him as Bill Gates.
longer being run by Phil Spencer. It's Nadella walking through and telling Phil what to do, and the guy's got to go out there and deliver the fucking message to everybody else. And now it's got to be Sarah Bond's turn. But the problem is, this entire shift in the actual industry has been causing a lot of outrage and insanity, because now the actual promotion that's been going on, which is the big headline of what's been happening over the past weekend, is that Xbox is done. It's dead. It's leaving the hardware industry. The gaming industry is done. Xbox failed. The experiment is over.
I've been seeing some weird postings on Facebook about this, and I do some research, and it comes to find out someone has their head so far up Sony's behind that, and there's some kind of page that's pretending to be journalism.
Rev up those YouTube videos, baby, because Xbox is finally done. According to Insider Gaming, saying rumor, the future of Xbox is software publishing as the next console generation faces doubts. The article said,
hey, without any competition in the gaming space, your PlayStations could be a couple $1,000s. They're not competing with Nintendo.
that it's been claimed by a reliable insider that Microsoft is planning some intense changes for the Xbox brand in the coming months. First, it has been suggested that there will be a massive round of layoffs heading into Q1 2026.
I forgot to take my bra off.
Which is hardly
I think it's starting to rub me raw.
The elite, and that the once concrete plans for the next console generation are now, quote, up in the air and might never materialize. Ah, yes, we're back. We're back in the cycle, baby. Xbox is back, right back into Xbox is dead. This is the biggest problem with this company. For some unknown reason, I don't know what it is about them. Every single 3 months, we always have to get the article, Game Pass kills games and was ruining the gaming industry, even though we're completely ignoring all the free-to-play games and live service products that are happening in gaming right now.
Yeah, Insider Games has always been trying to kill Xbox.
we're only going to focus on Game Pass, am I right? Because why would you even give a company less money for a product? That's stupid. Crazy town. You got to give them full price every single time, am I right? Then we go right back into, oh, Xbox dead. Hardware sales down. Nobody want to buy an Xbox. Then we go into, oh, Costco stopped selling Xbox. Therefore, the whole thing is dead. Only buy PlayStation. And these exact same morons on Twitter talking about...
You have to. Even if you gave me $1,000 to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro, I still wouldn't buy one.
About financials, thinking they're actually...
I would buy a Steam Deck. Or a gaming handheld. Before I would buy a PlayStation.
Economists, even though what they do is they bag fucking lunches on a daily basis and their entire IQ is below room fucking temp, are trying to go through and be like actual voices in the gaming industry when they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. And the funniest part about all of that is the entire weekend was set off about Xbox leaving the gaming industry was because of a post on NeoGAF.
You gotta be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. NeoGAF?
On NeoGAF. I swear to God, bro. Does anybody know the history of that website at all? According to Sneaker SO saying this, without going too much...
That's what I think about NeoGAF. I put the microphone up my skirt. No, just kidding.
into detail not long after the last round of layoffs. The next one should be coming in Q1 26, by the way, and it's going to be just as massive as the last one. Some rumblings out of Xbox starting to come out were a little hard to believe. The ramifications of the COD Game Pass gambit not working out, just starting to get properly measured. But the thing that have really stuck out to me was that suddenly really concrete plans for actual Xbox hardware went from being definitive to up in the...
You're all like, oh my god, a girl just passed gas. We gotta watch. Yay.
Air, which was really startling given that this thing was meant to be out relatively soon. It was one of those situations where despite folks being told, hey, we want to pull the trigger on this in 2026, the steps you would need to take in the lead up to delivering a new console gen weren't being met. Lots of things that were sure things started getting pushed. The Costco retailer pulling Xbox, and apparently they are one of many that we'll learn about soon, told me all I needed to know. To sum it up, the future of Xbox is software publishing, with significantly honed and...
Well, since I farted on this headset, I'll sell it for about $5,000.
Focus on profitable IPs. COD, WoW, Minecraft, Candy Crush, Forza Horizon. Cloud gaming being the home of the Xbox platform, transitioning Game Pass into basically becoming the point of entry subscription for xCloud access, which will continue to drive its price tag higher, by the way. They aren't done there just yet either, and releasing their software on any device that has a marketplace for users willing to buy their titles. Maybe some OEM thing will take up the Xbox name, but given what is clearly a collapse in the favorable mindshare...
I'm surprised they don't make a Sega punt about Microsoft.
...faith in said brand, I'm not even sure a third-party OEM is going to want to have an Xbox console by the time MS is done with their reorienting of the division. Now, this one NeoGAF post and the news of Satya Nadella being moved out of that position and Justin Althoff taking over is what started the entire firestorm over the past weekend. People losing their minds saying, oh, Xbox is dead. They're finally leaving the gaming industry. We were right all along. People huffing their own farts consistently, talking about how right they were about things without even realize the insane ramifications of what it would happen if actually Xbox did in fact truly leave the hardware industry and the actual gaming industry itself. Nobody realizes how bad it would actually be. You think PlayStation has no competition now, releasing one tentpole title a year and then making you pay $830 for a PS5 Pro with a...
Yeah, no! I'd rather buy a Legion handheld from Lenovo before I buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. By the way, Lenovo has some high-quality build computers. Check out Lenovo.com for extremely high-quality computers. Fantastic builds. and extreme quality. Lenovo.
Goddamn disk drive. You think that's bad now? Wait till Xbox actually leaves the gaming industry. You think the Switch 2 charging $80 games is bad now? Wait till those companies.
Didn't I just say that if Xbox left the industry, there would be no competition, and you'd see like the PlayStation 5 Pro or the PlayStation 6 be over $1,000. Without competition, the prices go extremely high. Competition is what keeps prices lower and competitively, for the most part.
Truly have no competition.
But this is 2025. We're living in the frickin' Twilight Zone.
And all they do is create an oligopoly between each other, and everything goes down the fucking shitter right now in the gaming space. You thought you were paying a lot of money now? Just fucking wait, baby. And the funnier part is watching actual fanboys walk around in the gaming space celebrating this and actually talking about things they don't understand. Here's MBG tweeting this. The rumor going around is Justin Althoff is now the one making the quote uncomfortable calls for Xbox and is the person responsible for pulling the plug on the Xbox console. With Tom Warren quote tweeting MBG and saying this. Justin Althoff is the CEO of commercial at Microsoft, which has nothing to do with the Xbox division, led by Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer. If you're gonna make shit up, at least make it believable. And then MBG deletes the tweet. This is what I'm talking about. This is the shit that you have to deal with on the internet. Is actual clowns and morons with below room temp IQ who think you actually are supposed to put pennies inside of penny loafers are the kinds of people creating all this bullshit in the gaming space. And these are the guys people listen to with like pure unadulterated facts and all that bullshit that we see all the time because it is honestly so fucking insane. Now at the actual point in time,
you can never trust a fanboy.
Where Xbox.
Oh no. Is there sometime in the future that Dreamcast guy is going to make a video with a bunch of lies?
Has all this other bullshit to deal with increasing the prices.
Oh God. That also means Reforge Gaming is going to start making some lies up too. Oh, wow. I bet that's going to start happening.
Doing it in the worst fucking way possible. Now, a post from fucking NeoGaf of an insider.
NeoGaf, folks.
Of a leaker who's get some things right but also gets some things wrong is an actual rumor saying Xbox is dead, baby. Spin up those channels. Get those videos out. Everybody get the engagement because clearly that's what's happening right now. And honestly, nobody knows what's happening. Nobody knows what's happening. But what I do know is when a player leaves the space, that's when things get worse for everybody.
That's true.
Lena Khan. That's when actual consolidation happens. When there's less competitors in that space. Not less publishers, less actual hardware competitors providing different ways of actual competition. That's where the issue is. Not about buying ABK. It's about the fact that if Xbox does leave the gaming industry, everybody is fucked because you have one of two choices now.
Couldn't said it better myself.
You got PlayStation if you want to play on a console, so get ready for $900 boxes, by the way. That's going to be a fun one. Or you got the Switch, which at the same time, get ready for them to brick your shit and to buy a second one because they're going to brick that one too. So this entire rah-rah cheering bullshit.
The video game crash is coming. The video game crash is coming. The video game crash is coming. Yeah.
About a company that you don't even game on, that you don't even like, that you're celebrating to go away is honestly the stupidest thing to possibly do. But the thing is, there's more to this. Because more stuff came out apparently.
Oh, no.
Daniel Ahmad on Twitter said this. Every few months, there are rumors that Xbox will exit the hardware market. But this announcement was 3 months ago. And my opinion, do expect them to continue releasing dedicated gaming hardware. It just won't be the closed ecosystem boxes that we've seen before. And that is exactly what I think is going to be happening too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the next Xbox game console is going to have more to do with Windows, and you could be able to have your Steam library and have your Steam and and your Xbox games and your Steam games right there. That's the way I think it is. I mean, you're gonna have Steam right there. And no, I'm not saying Epic Games because I don't believe Epic Games should be on anybody's computer. I have a real problem with Epic Games, okay?
I really feel like the console wars are basically over. Sure, PlayStation and Nintendo, good job, guys. You won that 150 million.
There's always going to be console wars. There's always going to be the PlayStation fanboys.
Way to go. Microsoft and Xbox don't care about that anymore. What they care about is the encroaching doom of what's happening right now with Steam. Uh-oh. If you haven't noticed, SteamOS has been making massive leaps and jump in the operating system space.
Yeah, you can basically put SteamOS now on your hardware. You can literally download SteamOS.
Having a lot of people convert from Windows to purely Linux, and Proton has been doing incredibly well, removing people from the Windows ecosystem. Remember, 1.6 billion Windows users are far bigger than 150 million consoles. And all you guys thinking about small Ps and small pods are literally not even in the actual spec of bullshit that Microsoft wants to pull off in this space. What Microsoft wants is total platform control. They don't care about consoles. That's fucking small. Think bigger, you morons. What they want is now a platform war. And what they're doing by purchasing ABK is having the content for that platform. Why do you think they increased the price of Game Pass? Not because it's a failure, but because they feel they can charge you more money for that service, and you'll pay it because the IP is in that platform. That's why. It's not a market condition play. It's a greed play. It's a we're going to nickel and dime you play. That's why the rewards points are capped. That's why the DLC discounts are gone. Nobody, like, people talking about console sales don't get the actual point. And everybody's been having an entire conniption fit trying to figure out, like, what's going to be happening over the weekend. And it turns out your boy Destin and Jez Corden had to make a couple of phone calls. Jez on Twitter saying this, update, Microsoft has responded to our request for an update on the status of Xbox hardware. Disclaimer, Microsoft has provided the following statement echoing our previous report, saying, quote, we are actively investing in our future first-party consoles and devices designed, engineered, and built by Xbox. For more details, the community can revisit our agreement announcement with AMD. So there you go. All that bullshit.
Yeah, Xbox is still going to be releasing hardware.
All that garbage everybody had to deal with over the weekend with all these idiotic fanboys cheering about the death of a platform that they have no idea would cause a massive gaping hole. That's what she said, inside the gaming industry and made things worse for them completely.
No, Alex, you cannot do that's what she said. That did not work. No, you do not get that one. Sorry.
So stopping them from having any kind of gaming conversation on the actual internet in the first place, because we all know the only thing PlayStation fanboys even talk about is Xbox, by the way, because that's really what it is.
Yeah, they talk about Xbox and they play Twitter.
That's all they talk about. It's crazy how a brand that they don't like is the only brand they talk about in the first place, which is really funny to see, by the way. And as
they have more hours playing Twitter than any of the games on their PlayStation.
So right now, they are still, in fact, making the next generation of consoles. They have partnered with AMD in what I would consider to be, or think to be, a multi-billion-dollar agreement with that actual chipset provider. You don't just throw that away because you had bad sales on Call of Duty. That's my guess. And my real guesstimation of what's going to be happening is Xbox will, in fact, at some point, leave the hardware.
Can we stop getting our knickers in a twit over posts that are on NeoGAF? Can we please not do that no more? Because that's embarrassing for people who do that. To actually take anything on NeoGAF seriously, that's an embarrassment.
Space. But what they're going to be doing instead is actually releasing out third-party OEM devices with other manufacturers, like we saw with the Asus.
Ooh. We can get an Xbox, a Lenovo Xbox piece of hardware. a Lenovo Legion or LOQ Xbox console.
ROG Ally, and that's actually, in my opinion, going to be better for you as a user. Imagine that, having access to your entire library of Xbox through the actual use of Windows, and then going around and having the choice.
I already have that. I already have the Xbox app on my computer. Oh. Would that mean that I would be able to go to the store, buy an Xbox game, put it in my drive, and then download it off of the... No, that would require me to get a Blu-ray drive. Those are like $50 USB Blu-ray drives, but... Or maybe scan the barcode with the scan, like you buy the game and you scan the barcode with the thingy and then you'll be able to get the game on, I don't know. That would be so awesome that you can go and buy Xbox games and somehow redeem those Xbox games that you buy for the console on your computer without having to buy an Xbox piece of hardware. Say like if you put it into an optical drive and it automatically downloads it, or there's a QR code inside the game that you can scan and it downloads it or something to your device of choice. Wouldn't that be so cool? You actually buy physical games that you can actually play on your PC. I want that to happen, by the way.
And ability to choose what device is best for you, and having actual competition between different providers of hardware. It's almost like it'd be the exact same thing as if moving to PC. They've just turned every Xbox user, all 30 million of you guys, into PC gamers. That's what happened. That's what happened. That's it. That's pretty much there it is. And if they do it right, of course, that's the big if, by the way. If they do it right, and the next console is in fact a PC that is an open platform, that will be good for the user overall. Because then you can say, hey, Xbox, suck my... I'm not paying for Game Pass. You can kiss my ass and see yourself the fuck out of here and install whatever you want on that open piece of hardware and device and have access to every game, every PlayStation game with a...
Yeah, but I'm a big advocate for Xbox Game Pass, and I will continue to fight this new pricing scheme because I gotta stop playing with my fidget spinner. I honestly believe that Game Pass is a great thing, and what they're doing right now is very anti-consumer, and I'm going to be part of that backlash to hopefully get the Xbox Game Pass stuff revised to the old way of doing stuff like a few months ago.
Branded Xbox device having the fucking button on it. And that will make everybody on the internet even angrier, because then you can play their exclusives on any branded device, seeing as how, you know, at some point PlayStation will in fact copy Xbox, because all they know how to do is copy in the first place and put their games onto every single PC platform day and date. And when it happens, that's going to be even funnier, because what's not sustainable isn't Game Pass. What's actually unsustainable in the gaming industry is the industry itself. But I want to know what you guys have to...
The industry itself is going to crash. It's going to crash because of greed. Greed is going to be the big contributive factor to the video game crash, on top of piss poor ports and buggy games and $1 million in microtransactions in Fortnite, all going to be a contributive factor to the video game crash. Anyways, I'm going to get ready for bed and wind down for the night and stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know when I'm going to do the next live stream. I had to do this Xbox stuff because Xbox has royally aggravated your girl over here. So anyways, I got lots of videos, lots of try videos coming up for this month, and I have a brand new video out, part 3 of my adventures in Washington State, so go check that out. And also be sure you're following me on Instagram for pictures and all other stuff. And if you want to, you can go follow me on Blue Sky and TikTok. Anyways, and be sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing as always. And I'll see you guys next time. Love from your girl Angel. Bye bye.